Hi everyone, I am Wheatfield Mama. I'm here today to talk about my top 5 tips for breastfeeding for new moms. I've done this twice now, so I think I'm allowed to talk about this. My very first breastfeeding experience was great. I wasn't anxious about it at all. I was really determined to breastfeed, so I just cleared all my fears, and there was none really. No one in my family, my mom breastfed me and my brother like briefly before she put us on formula, but she never really talked about it, and I don't remember, so that was pretty much it. Otherwise, everyone, I have 7 aunts and 13 cousins, everyone was on a bottle around me, so I never really saw anyone breastfeed until I was 18 years old. One of my really close friends had a baby, and she was one of those people that just popped it out anytime the baby was hungry, and I can't tell you how important that relationship with her was to understanding just how normal and natural breastfeeding is, because I don't know why. Hopefully it's coming more to light, but it definitely was taboo when I was a teenager. That was like, you don't even hear about it in health class, you know? So I think it's something that we need to talk about comfortably and not be worried about, really about how other people are feeling about it, specifically other moms, because, you know, whatever, it's your choice as a mother to make, and whatever you decide is your decision, and we can argue about it, and people can feel offended about it, but what it comes down to is what does nature intend for you to do, and do you want to follow that? That's what I believe, so that's where I'm going to leave that. So my first tip is number 1, do not think about your milk supply. The only thing you should think about your milk supply is that you are flowing, and your body works. That's it. That's all you should think about. You should not trick yourself into thinking that you can't produce enough, or that you, for whatever reason, like maybe your mom said she couldn't make enough milk, or maybe a doctor says, hey, you got small boobs. Really, your breast size has nothing to do with it. Obviously there's genetic conditions, but I believe, and I should find the statistic, but it's like less than 2% of people have an actual genetic condition that will not allow them to be able to breastfeed, or, have small mammary glands or whatever. So number 1, don't think about your milk supply, except to think that you are flowing and your body works. Second to that is to get down the key ingredients to making enough milk. One is a good latch with your baby, and this can be tricky because tongue ties and lip ties are becoming more prominent as our foods are being more fortified with different vitamins that have been linked to causing tongue and lip ties. And so with that, you can get revisions with that. I know I personally don't have any experience with that, but luckily we live in a time where lactation consultants are fairly easy to find, especially if you're in a hospital. Almost all midwives are definitely trained as lactation consultants, and there's videos online that you can watch. Breastfeeding should not hurt, so if your latch hurts, then there's a good sign that it's improper. And a quote that I heard is, it's called breastfeeding, not nipple feeding. So your baby should literally have a breast in their mouth. Number 3, stay hydrated. Like, your hydration is so important, especially right after labor, like getting all of your fluids back to normal. My midwife told me this really great tip. Before you sit down to nurse, go pee. And get yourself at least 8 ounces, 16 ounces of water. Of course, now I don't have a burp cloth, right? So that was a good tip that I didn't hear with my first baby, was go pee first. That way hey, my bladder's empty. And then get yourself a glass of water as you go to sit down and nurse, or make your partner get you a glass of water. And then as you're nursing, make sure you drink it all. And then when you're done nursing, go pee again. This is especially important right after you've had the baby because if you want your bladder to be completely empty to make sure that you're excreting all of the placenta or any like remains left in your uterus, so your uterus can completely contract back to its normal size. So stay hydrated. Calories, get your calories. A lot of women right away, of course, like this society idea that you're gonna bounce back. Well, just forget about that. Forget about that for the first 6 months. Forget about that for a whole year if you can. You should not be concerned about calories except making sure that you get enough. I believe they say that you should get 200 to 300 more calories than even when you were considering when you were pregnant. It takes work to make milk. If you are well hydrated and you're consuming enough calories, then your body has a good start. The next tip I have is to be relaxed, stay chill. Don't if you're stressed out, you need to take the measures that whatever you do to chill out. You need to do those things because a lot of the time stress and postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety can get in the way of your milk production. And that's something that maybe in the past wasn't really considered because our mental health wasn't so assimilated to our physical health. It just in the way we think about it as a society, and even in a medical practice, they wouldn't consider, hey, you're depressed, maybe that's affecting your milk supply. Obviously, postpartum depression can be a very serious thing. Postpartum anxiety can be a very serious thing, and you should get help, and you shouldn't be embarrassed about getting help, or you shouldn't be tough on yourself for getting help. Like you might think, I can get through this on my own. It's okay to reach out. My last tip is to take a few days at home and figure out how you are most comfortable to breastfeed in a public situation. So for me, that was not thinking so hard about what everyone else is thinking, because what happened to me is that I was so concerned about being modest and covered that it just drew a lot of attention to me. So once I just dropped the cover and figured out how I felt comfortable as far as my modesty went, that's what helped me to draw less attention to myself. So now when I nurse, most people don't even notice that I'm nursing unless they want to hold the baby. They're like, oh, is he sleeping? And so that was my experience, was like when I was trying to keep myself covered and like, looking down my shirt and all these things, like trying to figure out how to be modest and how I can't show my boobs off, that is when I drew the most attention to myself. And so once I figured that out, then I learned this amazing tip, which I have to share with everyone. And it doesn't work for all body types, unfortunately. You do what you can, but part of feeling modest when you're breastfeeding is keeping the upper part of your chest covered and then also keeping your belly covered, especially right after postpartum when you just have this jelly belly. What I learned with that is to get a tank top, and I just say get it from Walmart, these little thin spaghetti strap tank tops. You can obviously go out and get a fancy nursing tank, but they're so expensive. I don't know. I had one and this works the same way. So finding the cheapest little, we used to call them spaghetti strap tops from Walmart or Forever 21. I don't think Forever 21 even exists anymore, but they're like $2 at Walmart. And the reason why is because you're going to stretch out the straps. So buy a size up. So maybe I would wear a small, I'd buy a medium. You're going to want to be able to pull it down below your breast when you're feeding so that the tank top covers your belly right here, obviously. And then when you have a shirt on over it, I just wear a tank top under all of my outfits. It does not matter what I'm wearing. I always put one of these little tank tops on underneath. So that way, when you're nursing, you can pull your shirt up to cover your upper chest. Or if you're wearing a dress, you can preemptively wear the tank top, fold it in half, and then have it always covering your upper chest. I do that anyways just to keep the cleavage down, so that way, hopefully you're wearing a dress that has buttons or is low enough where you can just pull it down. That way your upper chest is covered with the tank top. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't think you're hungry right now, right? He's like, I'm always hungry, Mom. What are you talking about? So hopefully that video wasn't too mom brain for you, because, you know, I really should know myself better and just write everything down before I just throw a video at you. But we'll review quickly. Tip number 1, I don't even remember. Don't think about your milk supply except to think that you are flowing and that your body works. Tip number 2 is to stay hydrated. Tip number 3, get enough calories. I'm going to say that hydration and calories should go together. But tip number 4 was to be chill, relax, get help if you think that you're experiencing postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. Latch is somewhere in there. Number 4, Latch. Maybe that should be number 1, really, honestly. Get your Latch figured out. 4, 5 is to take a few days at home before you have to nurse in public to figure out what is your comfort level, and then maybe use my tank top method. I hope that this video wasn't too rambled and that you found some help from it, or maybe you can send it to a new mom who is really really excited about nursing, really sure about nursing, or maybe want some advice. This is what your breasts were made for. Boobs are to make milk to give to your babies. That's what they're there for. Just remember that. And I think he looks like he's getting enough milk, right? Take care, everyone.